I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of them for their hard work and dedication to our sports program. I'd like to thank Lisa Menard for typing the certificates and the program. In this session, we will recognize the students who participated in basketball and cheerleading. Success is measured in many ways, but with this group, championships were abundant. The boys JV basketball team were CVAC champions. Cheerleading team won the CVAC championship and the Messina Invitational. The girls varsity basketball team were CVAC champions, as well as Section 7 champions. And Andy Landry not only had his 200th win this year, but he was also named Coach of the Year. The girls JV basketball team were also CVAC champions. Tom Babby was third in the CVAC for 3-point baskets. Courtney Corrier and Brittany Jarvis were first and second scoring leaders in the CVAC, and Jarvis also led the CVAC in 3-point baskets. Congratulations to all of our athletes on their accomplishments, including the 69 students that earned high honors in academics while participating this winter. Good luck to all the seniors who performed for their last time in these sports at NCCS, and may all the returning athletes continue our program of excellence in the future. As is usually the case, I will call each team up front individually and introduce the players as the coach distributes an awards packet to each of them. Please hold your applause until the end of the introductions for each team. The coach will then comment on individual and team accomplishments. I'll ask that everyone be quiet while the coaches are talking, and ask that you remain in the auditorium for the full session to give proper respect to each athlete and coach. First team I'd like to call down, boys modified A basketball team.
What?
Ryan Armstrong. If we could have it quiet, please. Chris Guerin. Cody Gay. Corey Trombley. Casey Lamberton. Casey Letourneau. Dylan Sample. Brett Mosley, Fred Hapgood, Nick Vandermonnick, Devin Poisson, manager Randy Grimshaw, manager Kyle Keswick, and manager Jared Parker. Please welcome the boys modified A basketball coach.
Good evening. Before I get started, I'd like to thank a few people that helped make this season a fun and successful one. Josie, she does a great job keeping us informed and on top of all the changes that take place, from the organizing of practice times, games, scrimmages, and then the makeup game. It's never ending. She can be a real pain, but we appreciate her all the Custodians, thank you for always being eager to help whenever I ask for something. To Rob, for all your help. Rob works hard with kids and puts in countless hours. We've had many discussions on how to try and improve the boys program. We're trying to make it a program that not only teaches teamwork, discipline, and hard work, but also try and turn it into a winning program. Rob has always been willing to put the time and effort it takes to achieve this goal. With determination and dedication from our coaching staff, our excellent parents, and our wonderful community, we will succeed. Orville, for making a tough season into a fun one for the kids. He really comes out with some good one-liners. I was talking to Mr. Nettle the other day, and he reiterated that this would be his last season as coach. I would like to thank him for his many years and hours that he has spent with the kids from his first year to his last year. He enjoyed a few of the best years at Northeastern boys team has ever had here and back in the early to mid-90s. He coached the only boys player to ever reach the 1,000-point plateau. I was fortunate enough to be a part of it, to be on the bench and experience the excitement. It was great. When I was playing back in the 70s, my senior year, we only had one win, and that was the final game of the season. So to be part of a championship team made me very proud. Basketball has always been my favorite. It's a big challenge, a lot to teach, a lot to learn. With Mr. Nettle, the kids always had a good time. Mr. Nettle truly cares about the kids, their hopes, dreams, and their plans for the future. Mr. Nettle loves to see kids playing ball of some kind. He's mentioned to me before that sports is a healthy release for kids from the daily grind. It gives them something else to look forward to. Orville also said he wishes our program and us the best of luck in the coming years. Thank you for all the memories. I'd like to thank the parents. Without the support from the parents, obviously you wouldn't have a successful season. They have to be as dedicated as the players, getting the kids to and from practices and games along with everything else going on at home. It's certainly not an easy job. And to our youth coaches, without them our program would not be successful. A special thanks to Dave Letourneau. We'd like to thank him for keeping the book whenever he could. I'd like to congratulate our hockey team and volleyball team on a great season. You proved that you could play with the best of the CBAC. To all three girls basketball teams, I think they only had one loss in the regular season between all of them. I won't mention what team had the one loss. And congratulations to our cheerleading team for another impressive season. The kids work hard and are dedicated, and it paid off for them again. And most of all to our boys JV basketball team for winning the CBAC. So now for my team. As always, the worst part of the season is tryouts. It's wonderful to have so many kids wanting to play. We started with 40 kids, but it makes it very tough to have to tell someone that they didn't make it. I decided I was only going to keep 11 players and 3 others as managers that had the potential of making the team next year. Although there were more than just 3 that had the potential, you have to draw the line somewhere. I had to cut some players that had made last year's team, and those were the toughest. I wasn't sure what kind of goals to set for the kids to start the season. We had 4 freshmen, 3 8th graders, and one of which only played last year, and 7 7th graders, and 3 of those were managers. My managers came just about to every practice, were a big part of the team, and ran through all the drills and suicides and pretty much did whatever the team did. The only thing they didn't do was get to play in games. That really showed me how dedicated these kids were. They improved as much as any of the others just by being at practice day in and day out. When we started the season, we had only 1 player that ever played the forward position and no one that ever played at the point guard position. So needless to say, at the start of the season, I thought winning only a couple games would be a realistic goal. I didn't let on to the team that I was a bit worried, even though I think they were probably thinking the same. We worked hard on our fundamentals and got into basketball shape. One goal we set was to try to incorporate a drill called perfection that Rob uses in his practice that works on passing, rebounding, dribbling, and the main goal of finishing the layup. We started at 60 layups in 10 minutes, and it took a few practices to reach this goal. We kept improving, and then it seemed like overnight that we were hitting close to twice that amount. Or for you that have a hard time with math, that's 120. We came just shy of 126 by the last practice. That was an outstanding accomplishment. The first 2 games were against Mariah and Lake Placid, and I had a hunch that we can handle these 2 teams, but you never know until you actually play. Well, we not only handled them, we beat them pretty convincingly. The 3rd game was against Saranac. Their team consisted of mostly freshmen, and they were a much bigger team than we were. Didn't surprise me, they usually are. I was hoping to stay within 20. This was the early test we wanted to see how we could size up against the better teams in the league. We lost by 16, but they only scored 41 points, so I was happy with our defense. I knew we could play better offensively. PHS was next. We hardly ever beat PHS. It was an exciting game, and we were able to come out with a victory in overtime. This was a real confidence booster, and we started thinking we could play with any team. We took care of Beavertown the next game, and all of a sudden we were sitting with a 4-1 record. We were excited and overflowing with confidence. Next up was Peru, and we knew if we played well, we wouldn't have a problem coming out on top. I don't know if it was a rough day at school or too confident or what the problem was, but if there was a possibility to make a mistake, we made it, and we made many. It was what I call one of the game. It was discouraging, and the kids took it hard. I told them that we could either hang our heads or pick ourselves up and work hard to get ready for the next game. Saranac Lake was next, and when we went up there last year, they beat us pretty good. I told them that we didn't want that to happen again, and that we were more than capable of taking it to them. We outplayed them on both ends of the court and came away with a 15-point victory. Then we took care of Ticonderoga, and we were back in a mini-winning streak again. We had Ausable next, and once again we played one of those ugly turnover play games. We didn't have trouble with the press all year long, but on this day it cost us the game. But we were a modest 6-3 record, so we were happy even though we knew we could have easily been 8-1. A 6-3 record already exceeded my expectations, but these guys wanted more. We beat Chupper Lake, next in one-sided victory, and at 7-3 we had a good chance to hit double figures and wins with 4 games left. We had Saranac next, and they beat us pretty good the first time, and they were undefeated and hadn't really had a close game. I gathered the kids around in a huddle, and I told them that they could play with anybody and that we could hand them their first loss of the season. I couldn't have been more proud of a bunch of kids. We not only handled them their first and only loss of the season, but we held a 10-point lead most of the game. We had PHS next, and we knew it was going to be a good game, and it was. Even though we lost at sudden death overtime, which I never heard of until that night, the kids did well, and I was proud of them. We beat back Peru the next game and Beavertown for the second time to end a great season and finished with a 10-4 record. The kids proved me wrong, even though they didn't know I thought 2 wins would be good at the beginning. They improved so much as the year went on, and I couldn't have been more proud. My players. Nick Money, great kid, always brings 100% to every practice, and with some hard work with his left hand this summer, he could be a big part of the team next year. Casey Letourneau, you could always count on Casey to do something to make you laugh. He had a good attitude. He has a great shot. If we can get him to be more aggressive, he'll be a real asset to the team next year. Fred Hatwood, one of the best shots on the team, improved a lot in just 1 year, and we hope to see that much improvement again for next year. He can be real grouchy sometimes, though. Dylan Sample, he has also improved a lot from last year and is starting to take the ball to the basket with more success, and his defense has improved tremendously. He was all business this year and worked very hard to improve. One of the first ones off the bench and made a good impact when he came in. Casey Lamberton, the best shooter on our team, improved his shot from last year to this more than anyone I have ever coached. He has a good shot at making JV next year with some hard work. Brett Bosley, as a 7th grader, he started every game and played in the middle on defense and did a great job. He made some huge shots in some close games, and he too has a shot at making JV next year. Chris Guerin, fastest on the team. He can flat out fly. Plays excellent on defense on the top of the 2-3 and created numerous turnovers. If he could just keep the ball off his feet, he could have scored big. Cody Gay, good athlete. I never did figure out what position he played best. Wherever I asked him to play, he was more than happy to give it a shot, and he played everywhere. He gave us some good minutes when the game was on the line. Ryan Armstrong, we counted on him to help break the press, bring the ball up, and score. He was our high scorer on the team, and he could be counted on to make the big play. We still call him Smiley, and he's a pleasure to coach. Devin Poisson, he has one gear, and it's high gear. He doesn't know any other way to play but all out all the time. He hounds the guy with the ball as well as anybody, and he isn't afraid to take the ball to the basket against the biggest guy in the court. Sometimes it's ill-advised, but he has no fear. A pleasure to coach, and this is why I've chosen him for the Most Improved Player Award. I can't say enough about it. The improvement he's made from last year to this is just hard to describe unless you witness it yourself. I asked him to do everything. Be the point guard, play big man on defense. He was my best rebounder and was a big key to breaking the press and breaking down the defense. He was directly responsible for Ryan being the high scorer with countless assists. They worked the give and go to perfection. He has a fantastic attitude and is a pleasure to coach. That is why I chose him for the Most Valuable Player Award. Randy Grimshaw, Kyle Keswick, Jared Parker. I could not have chosen three better managers. They came to practice after practice in most of the games. They are dedicated to improving and worked hard all year at it. I asked them to keep the book for the games and keep the score clock, and we never had a problem in any game with the score or stats. I didn't have to worry whether we had the med kit or ice, maybe the water bottle sometimes. Just great young men to be part of the team. Thanks, guys. You can come up, I have something. Congratulations to a very successful season. Good job.
Well, you basically said it all, so we had a good season, 10-4. I think it was our best record out of all the 3 years I played. We had a good team, young, hopefully they do good next year. Good luck, guys.
We have the JV boys basketball team now.
I had to wing that.
All right. I love you, baby.
Ethan Johnson. Anthony Chancellor. Corey Davison. Corey. Ben Dragoon. Casey Guerin. John McDonald. Justin Moore. Tyler Sample. Derek Ketford. Matthew Forbatko. Managers Josh Brooks and Casey Trombley. Please welcome the boys JV basketball team and coach Dave.
Good evening. I'd like to start off with some thank yous. Thank yous to our youth commissioners as well as our youth coaches for providing countless hours and quality programs for our youth to keep them and getting them ready for the next level. To Jerry, it's been great finding somebody who has the heart and soul into the program and willingness to improve to where we need to be in the future. He spends a lot of countless hours himself, as far as himself, going to tournaments as well. To Orville, for years of service in the district, not only as a teacher, as a coach, I wish him well in his retirement. To Josie, always support, and definitely a big thanks to providing some open gym time for us. To parents, the end of the season party, it meant a lot, the picture plaque that I have in my classroom as well as the one at home. To the Booster Club, we could not do any of this without you as far as uniforms. That's a big, big thank you, and the boys appreciate that a lot. In addition to, on behalf, I'd like to make it public this evening. It may have seemed very, very simple to them, but it was a big, big thanks to us, and that's to Coach Landry and Coach Bono on January 18th. It was my birthday, and God created snow that day, so we had no school. And we played a big game against PHS for first place that evening. We went double overtime to win. And we knew that practice the day before the game was very, very important. We had some nerves, and they took it upon themselves. I just asked for about 10, 15 minutes, and they wanted us to stay on the court for about 30, 35 minutes. So not only on behalf of my team and myself, that's exactly where the direction this program needs to go, and that's the boys program, the girls program working together. Most importantly, again, my parents and my players, again, I can't thank you enough. That's been a big impact of our success. With great pleasure, I stand before you tonight to address the talents, accomplishments, and admiration I have for the athletes standing before you. This will be a real-life model that when you work hard to reach your maximum potential, your goals will be accomplished. This year's squad was comprised of only one sophomore. We were by far the youngest team in the league and did match up in size to several teams. What we did do was play great denial defense, which put our transition game into effect, where we were able to beat our opponents down the floor. These athletes played with so much heart and determination that every obstacle that stood in their way was overcome. They have achieved what many athletes in their high school years do not ever reach, and that would be winning a CVAC championship. The team completed an overall record of 19 wins and 1 loss. It's not easy to accomplish this in our boys program because we have many challenges. 1, hockey, which some schools don't have. 2, more importantly, NAC, Lake Placid, and ourselves are the only schools that don't offer football, which allows coaches to have the big post players and, most importantly, athletes that incorporate year-round weight training into their programs. We can talk about advantages and disadvantages all night. I think it's necessary to talk about what we do best. 1 is the philosophy, our motto, family first. These boys supported each other since the first practice, which has been ongoing as well as unmatched. They carpool, eat together, tutor each other to improve their grades, and continuously offer a supportive environment. Their play is unselfish, and each are concerned equally about the success of the team as well as themselves. 2 was being motivated and dedicated. They understand the level of intensity their practices should be more difficult than the games. Whether practice is in the gym or their local rec park, they understand the needs of what has to be done to create a successful program. I have high expectations on and off the floor that you always give your best, which is why this is the perfect team to instruct, because basketball is just a component to their life, and they are proven winners off the court as well. Our third area of focus was communication. Every home game we have team meetings to review practices, strategies for upcoming games, improvements, or just simply a time to chat. It's important to be on the same page, which allows the team to understand that coaches as well as players are approachable and willing to work with everyone. Any of you that are into the NCAA with all the upsets going on in the tournament, I compare my team best to Boston College. Coach Al Skinner's team this year reached amazing accomplishments without truly having even an MVP player. What brought them on their successful journey was the coach selected players that fit his mold. He didn't have the best players. What he had was good players that worked as a team, were dedicated to the program, maintained a good attitude, and most importantly, were willing to change. His good athletes became a great team because psychologically, whoever was on the floor, they felt they could play better because they were behind each other. At this time, I would like to introduce our junior varsity stars. Corey Davison, Corey was unable to play the last few weeks due to an injury. He likes to perform WWE live at the home. Corey has a great shot and is one of the strongest dribblers on the squad. When he grows, hopefully, that will help him a lot to eliminate any mismatches. Ben Dragoon. Benny is the humor of the team. He's a great kid, however, definitely needs to get out of the house more. Ben is starting to take the ball to the basket more, which is helping his game because he is gaining more confidence. Ben is probably the best backdoor cutting player on the team. Derek Tedford. Completing tryouts, I told Derek that he had a long ways to go, but I was willing to work with him because his work ethic was so commendable, and he always maintained a good attitude. I knew he would fit in nicely with the team and would be able to accept his role. I'm looking forward to watching him play next year because I think he'll make a great team leader. John McDonald. If anyone ever remembers Adam Dutel, well, this is Adam Jr. If you ever want to drive anyone out of coaching, put the two of them on a team together. On a serious note, John is always motivating the team to do their best, even in some big games when John did not get much time. He is always the team's #1 fan, which allows everyone to witness the true attributes of this fine person. John is continuously working hard to improve his skills and will be expected to be a key contributor to next year's team. Casey Guerin. Casey will compete with a couple others for the Most Improved Player Award. Casey at times likes to go out of control, which would eventually find himself in trouble on the court. Halfway through the season, and after getting yelled at on a daily basis, Casey finally established composure and immediately made a huge impact to the success of our team. His defense is strong, and he's the best member of the team for following his shot. His dribbling skills as well as his work ethic are very noticeable. Justin Moore. Justin needs to always remember to play the game like as practice. 4 white walls, no fans. Justin has great hands on defense and can often anticipate a bad pass. He was a threat from the three-point line and excellent at outletting down the court to begin our fast break. Justin is also dedicated in the off-season, fine-tuning skills as you can find him on a daily basis at the Rosses Point Rec Center. Anthony Changelo. Anthony, another three-point threat, had great games when we needed him most. There were a few games that we won because of Anthony's shooting and hard work. When he beefs up some more, he will be able to help more in the rebounding end, as well as he needs confidence in taking the ball to the basket because he's one of the fastest players on the team. He is a great kid and a lot of fun to coach, however loves to make up his own rules when it's any team competition. Matthew Fabacco. That's all I can simply say is, poor Matthew. Anyone that knows what it's like to coach a family member will know exactly what I'm referring to. Matthew and I have been around each other for years, and he's very much a little brother to me. So when the team's not playing well, or Matt does 15 things great, when the first time something goes wrong, you know he'll get screamed at. Matt was a team leader leading this year's team in scoring, as well as would have ranked on the varsity stats for three-point goals. He's great at driving to the net, and defense has improved tremendously due to the fact that he's always been a worker, willing to listen, and most importantly, adapt. He will be a huge asset to future Cougar teams, and each year becomes more difficult to stop. I have no doubt in my mind that someday he'll be joining the NCCS Wall of Fame. He's focused and is always working to make himself better, which I cannot be any more proud of. Keithan Johnson. Being a first-year player to the school and never really participated with any intense instruction, this young man continuously amazed me. Teams realized very quickly that whatever trapping defense was challenged to us got defeated. He definitely needs to improve on the left side of his game, but he's willing to work. His leadership on the court was present whether hitting a basket, breaking a press, driving to the basket, or delivering a great pass. He did it when we needed it. He still has 2 great years of accomplishments ahead. Hopefully with making good choices and working hard to follow his dreams, there's no doubt in my mind that he could play for a great college basketball team and receive a scholarship. Grades must remain good with staying on the right path. We all know he can do it. For all the above reasons, I present Keithan Johnson with the Most Valuable Player Award. Tyler Sample. Whether you refer to him as Beast or Diesel, the point is he's like the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps going and going. While being not one of, but the hardest practice player I have ever coached, it has also made him the most improved player in 1 year's time that I have ever seen. While other players work hard, nobody wants to be paired up with the Beast because he pushes and pushes as many of them can't stay with him. If you look at his size in terms of height, it's difficult to imagine that he owned the boards. He's great on recovery defense and can be played anywhere on the floor. Offensively, whether shooting guard, dribbling, splitting the defense, he can just do it all. There's no one getting in his way. He only wants to be around and he knows the people he should be hanging around. He has great academic performance, makes good choices for himself, not due to peer pressure, is respectful towards peers and authority figures. All in all, he has a desire to be a better person in all areas of life. I could write a novel on all the positive things this young man has going for him. Why I enjoy coaching him so much is not just his time and talents, but he gets the message I've been trying to deliver. Find the path you want to take and do what you need to do to get there. The journey is always going to get longer, but at his grade level, he's one of the first kids I can truly say that he knows what he wants and he's on the right path. And for those reasons, he too deserves the Most Valuable Player Award. Josh Papoose Brooks, our manager. What can I say? We absolutely loved having him around. He's a great kid, having a great 6th grade school year, and the team is very proud of him and enjoyed having him on the bench. With his hard work, we definitely will be watching him on future teams as well. So if he'd come up and accept his gift. As you can see, we do have a problem with size in the future. In closing to the team, simply put, where do we go from here? Well, we continue with tournaments, which gives us constantly game exposure and time to fine-tune our skills. 2, incorporate weight training. We've spoken about how necessary it is to running an effective program to stay competitive. 3, know your goals. Repeatedly ask yourself, what do you want? Where do you want to be? And what are you doing to get there? Remember, only positive people can help you get there. And as always, family first. We must provide a supportive environment for each other. Know that your teammates and family will always be there. Play as a team. You succeed as a team. Again, just as Al Spinner's team believed they could change the program, I believe the same is true for you. Your mental toughness and determination to succeed will put the program where it needs to be. Many tough days lie ahead, and many heads will hang. Remember, every roller coaster must go down to go up again. Keep your heads high, because working together, your experiences down the road will be brighter. The magical repeated seasons of UVM and Duke's basketball success began with 4 to 5 years of miserable seasons for the beginning coaches, who are now very successful. The coaches, players, and schools stuck together when times were tough and created nationally known programs. We too together will build a program that will be recognized as Coach Brennan and Coach K did, with continued hard work and direction in the future. Together, player by player, bleachers packed, we too will be cutting down the nets. Thank you.
Adam Butel. Okay. This season was unbelievable. None of us ever thought we would have such a great season. We started it out by winning a tournament in Malone. From there, we just kept on playing, one game at a time. We had finished 19-1 CVAC champions. So Some of the highlights of the season were the Malone tournament, our first chance to see our talent in a game, to see how we play along with each other, maybe get an idea of how we were going to do this season. We beat NEC in the first game, and then shut a game in the next to win the tournament. Beating Saranac at home by 27 points. Saranac was one of the best teams in the CVAC this year. This gave us some much needed confidence. Winning at Sable Valley. In his years of coaching junior varsity basketball, Mr. Guerin has never won at Sable Valley School before. We changed that this year. Winning at Saranac. Mr. Guerin also has never won at Saranac while coaching before. We changed that this year too. We were up by 1 when Tony hit a clutch three-pointer to put us up for good, beating Plattsburgh at home. We had lost to them earlier in the season at their court. We wanted to make sure we did not let them beat us again. The game was close the entire way. It was very intense. It took us 2 overtimes to beat Plattsburgh. Keaton had carried us that game. He had somewhere around 30 points, I think. And Casey Guerin hit some very important free throws to keep us ahead. I think what was also great about that game was that after Keaton had fouled out in overtime, we just kept going at Plattsburgh, and we ended up winning. Finishing 19-1 and winning CVAC championship, our first junior varsity CVAC championship in a while. It's an awesome feeling, and it's an awesome accomplishment. This year has been great, guys. The bus rides were always fun. If you put guys like Keaton, Tony, JR on the bus together, you'll never be bored. You'll also never feel safe enough to sleep on the bus. I remember at the Malone tournament, Mr. Guerin had told some of us that by rubbing our tummies, we would grow taller. He must have read that in a magazine or something. Corey must have rubbed his tummy the whole way back from the tournament. I also heard that Casey and Tyler spent the rest of their day rubbing their tummies, so I did it too. Derek Tedford, he's a quiet guy. Nobody knows anything about him. Just kidding. Derek's an awesome guy. Benny, every Saturday morning practice, you'd see him just to roll out of bed. He'd arrive at practice in his pajamas, and he'd leave in his pajamas. Matt has a problem I really can't mention, but if you know Matt at all, you probably know what it is. We had a party at the end of our year to celebrate our season. I never knew Mr. Guerin liked karaoke so much. He kind of rubbed off on some of us. By the end of the night, Corey Trombley, Keith, and Mr. G and I were singing Bye Bye Bye. Finally, Mr. Guerin. Mr. Guerin. I have a lot to say about you. Mr. Guerin is the... I'm sorry, let me start over. Mr. Guerin is the type of... He warned me about this, not to say anything bad. Mr. Guerin is the type of coach, whenever he had a chance, he would have us in the gym practicing for 2.5 to 3 hours. He's the type of coach that if you don't do the drill the exact right way that he wants you to do it, he'll make you do it over again. Mr. Guerin is the exact kind of coach that you would want leading your team. His dedication to the sport and his players is unmatched. I've never seen a coach as committed as he is. He gives so much of his free time to basketball. While other coaches coach for just a season and that's all, Mr. Guerin is coaching all throughout the year. He knows what we are capable of, and he doesn't plan to let anything get in our way. Mr. Guerin taught us to have work ethic, unity, and heart. Without all that, I don't think our team would have been half as good. He's always preached about team unity and being like a family. That is why we did so well. We have no egos on our team. If one succeeds, we all succeed, just like he said. On behalf of our team, I want to thank you, Mr. Guerin. He deserves a round of applause. Rob, we got you something, but Josh left it at his house. We also want to thank our managers for doing a great job. Way to go, Papoose. Mr. Calvin Castine for coming to our games and showing them on TV, thanks to support from viewers like you. I want to thank the cheerleaders for coming to our games. Good job, guys.
Thanks.
I also want to thank the parents for all the support and everything we did this year. Thank you.
We have the varsity basketball team up front, please.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Travis.
Like in the camera.
I love you, Marshall. Woo-hoo!
Tom Babby. Travis Dragover. Corey Letourneau. Michael O'Connor. Brandon Sample. Brad Trahan. Marshall Zins. Mike Verbaco. Jonathan Hardigan. Kyle Kent. Coach Netto could not be here tonight, and so Mr. Davison will fill in for him. Please welcome the boys varsity basketball team.
Due to a prior commitment, Coach Netto was not able to be here. He wants his team to know that they were a special group of players. Their dedication in improving the team, despite all the setbacks we had this year, made for a very special year of coaching. Despite our record, these boys are true winners and should be very successful in life. Special thanks, Josie, for all the help throughout the years and your great organizational skills. Parents, for your understanding and positive support, you're number one. Mr. Verbaco, for keeping such great stats. Mr. Letourneau, for keeping a great scorebook. Yes, it even balanced. Calvin Castine, for all the taping of the games. The boys will really enjoy them 20 years from now. Cheerleaders and Sarah Hunter, a number one group of people.
Yeah.
Next year should be a real breakthrough year for the varsity Cougars. A talented group of JV players will be moving to varsity, and 4 outstanding varsity players will remain. John Hardigan, excellent on defense and gives 100% effort each game. Kyle Kent should be a solid forward and good rebounder. Keithan Johnson, if he plays the guard position, he could become an all-star in the league. Mike Verbaco averaged 13.2 points per game this year, had a 20 rebound night, and should be a top player in the league. Now for the seniors. They don't get any better. Tom Babby, coach's all-star this year, averaged 15.6 points per game, played more minutes than any other player, came in third in the league in three-point shots with 53. The leader had 55. Corey Letourneau, solid rebounder and a good outside shooter. Mike O'Connor played in any position requested and gave 100% effort. Brandon Sample, no one played with more intensity and gave more effort. Brad Trahan, a true and loyal Cougar who always gives 100% effort. Marshall Zins, your first three-point shot at Peru and then the famous strut was priceless. Travis Dragoon, I will always remember the great defensive game you played at NAC. In closing, I'll miss you guys tremendously. We had many laughs and good times this season. Most improved player, Travis Dragoon. Most Improved Player, Brandon Sample. For Most Valuable Player Award, he has two of them. First one, Mike Strabacco. And the other one, with no surprise, Tom Babby. In closing, you guys had a great year with all the ups and downs. It was most memorable game that I remember is the Peru game here, where we had a chance to actually beat that team, and they're the best team in the league. So very great game, very great accomplishment. You guys gave 100%. It was fun to watch. Good job.
Yeah, I'm up here again. As I hear, I get stuck in this. Not much to say, I guess. It was pretty fun. We didn't really win a lot as, varsity basketball. But we had good times. Probably the most memorable time would be the pep rally. Parents, if you don't know what I'm talking about, ask your kids. It was like the best thing ever. Any of you seen dodgeball? The whole best thing ever. Team unity right there. We got that in like 5 minutes. I'd like to thank Calvin, all my teammates, cheerleaders, of course. Every game, you guys went out there and cheered for us, even though it wasn't pretty. All the parents for coming to our games and driving us each night. All our other supporting coaches, you guys were big in helping us. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Nettle. He was always there for us, and it was fun. He cracked quite a few jokes, kept times good. Probably the best one would have to be, well, bad news is, okay. The good news is, I'm retiring next year. The bad news, I'm reffing. If you've ever seen a ref during practice, it really is bad news. We had good times though, hiding in lockers and surprising them, Thought we would get them a heart attack, but it was pretty fun. I guess that's about it. Thanks for everything, guys.
The cheerleading team come down front.
As always, the most inspiring words from John Argan.
There's a whole bunch of us.
Sierra Babby. Trista Barkle. Marcy Brasser. Sarah Bushy. Teresa Newby. CJ Hunter. Brittany Ledoux. Liz Allison. Nicole Ankle. Courtney DeMars. Ryan Hampton. Conley Hilliker. David Senecal. Angela Seguin. Gretchen Thom. Bailey Trahan. Jessica DeRoche. Megan Lapierre. Michelle Lawrence. Paige Menard. Please welcome the cheerleading team and Coach Hunter.
All right, I'm not as eloquently spoken as Robbie, so mine's a lot shorter. First, we all know you probably would have gotten Coach of the Year if you hadn't been thrown out of the game. I'd first like to say thank you to Superintendent Mr. Hebert, the school board, Mrs. Gilroy for everything they've done. I'd also like to thank all the fans, but most importantly the parents for their support throughout the year. Mike and Melody, Vicki, Carol, just because your kids are graduating, you can still come back. Getting used to seeing you in the crowd. I also need to thank my family for putting up with me for yet another year of this. Special thanks to my husband for not having a heart attack this year, and for doing the music and everything else that he puts up with. I also need to thank Carrie for being the ever-dependable babysitter, as well as message center. She takes all kinds of messages from everybody. And of course, I have to give special thanks to Steph, my right hand, my best friend. Without you, I'd definitely go crazy. Finally, I'd like to thank my team. Coming into this year, I definitely didn't think I'd have an incredible team 2 years in a row. And let me tell you, they definitely proved me wrong. They were absolutely amazing. This team really pulled together in the last month of the season when I pushed the hardest and we had 3-hour practices and I had to do just 5 more minutes. They stuck in there. They put it all there. And being a first place team for another year for CVAC and Messina definitely showed me how hard they could work. I could never express to anybody how proud I am to say that I'm the coach of a fabulous team, like you. And I lied, I said I wasn't going to cry. I owe you 20. I think this year is probably one of the hardest years to say goodbye. This year I say goodbye to 7 seniors. One being my son. See, told you I was going to cry. So I'm going to keep the rest of this short, and I didn't go through and talk about each kid individually. There's 20 of you. I could be here forever. But to my 7 seniors, you've all seemed to manage to wiggle your way into my family and my heart. And I've enjoyed working with each and every one of you, no matter how angry you think you made me. You all hold a special place in my heart, and I will treasure every memory that I have of each and every one of you. I wish you all the best. Getting through next year without all of you will be a true test of this championship team and for me. So make sure you come back to see us get her done. Now to my most improved players. I actually chose 2. I sat long and hard about it, and I thought that I have one that was a returning cheerleader. She was young. She was pretty questionable leaving the end of last year. She worked hard, but I wasn't really sure. She came back this year, never questioned anything I did, any place I put her. I could move her in the middle of a game to a different formation. She just smiled and said, "Sure, coach." I could put her basing a stunt with one team and throw her in with another group the next day. And she never said a word. She just said, "Sure, coach." At this time, I would like to give one of my most improved to Paige Bernard. My second most improved, I chose from one of my newbies. I had quite a few of them this year, and it was much more difficult to decide because they've all improved so much, which is obvious. There's no way we could be a championship team. This person, on plenty of days, made me wonder where her mind was. I know you'll know who you are the second I say this. She could look at you with the most sincere look on her face and just say, "Me?" And you're the only person standing within 5 feet of you. "Me?" But again, she was always there. She worked hard. She came to me for help with some things. I could put her in anywhere, and she'd always say, "Sure, coach. I think I can, coach." "Me, coach?" And my second most improved would have to go to Gretchen Throne. My most valuable player was probably the hardest thing. This team gets pretty close to me. They all become a part of my family, and they all become pretty valuable. Like any other sport, you have people that sub in and come and go on the court, whatever. Cheerleading takes everybody. Everything they do takes everybody there. So it's hard to choose just one. But every year I step back and I think, who brought in the most? Who worked hard? Who was there every practice? Who got beat up time and time again? Okay, that was pretty much the entire team. But they keep coming back. I give her tape and say, "Go home, pick a cheer from it, do what you have to do, bring it back in." And she did. I could say, "Take the dance, do anything you want to it, make it good, and bring it back in tomorrow." And she would. I look forward to another year with her next year, and I hope that she can live up to this again next year. My most valuable player goes to Courtney. Again, I'd just like to thank everybody. I greatly appreciate looking into the crowd and recognizing all the people. I especially want to thank the girls' basketball team and the boys' basketball teams for all their support in my team. It is great to know that you guys stand behind us no matter what. Thank you.
I want to start off tonight by thanking a couple people for their help this season. First, Steph, thank you for being at every practice. Thank you for your ideas whenever we needed them. Without you, the season wouldn't have been the same. Chuck, thank you for putting up with us every day and for the great job you did with our music. To our coach, who isn't just our coach, but our taxi, our motivator, our teacher, our cheerleader, our mom when mom's not around, but most of all, she's our best friend. For some of us, she's the reason we come to school and keep our grades up. Every year we have new cheerleaders join our squad, some of which have never cheered before. When you begin cheering, you can't really know what to expect. At first you hate it, but coach teaches us to love it. The harder you work, the better you are. She brought out the best in all of us. I think our trophy showed that much. I know all of us seniors are definitely going to miss the Chinese woman. Especially when she tries to figure skate. Do you remember falling on your face in front of us, Coach? But I'm sure we'll all come back to Brazil. This season was probably the most fun I'd ever had on the squad. We just had a good connection between the 20 of us. The new girls seemed to fit right in. We could all have fun together and laugh at Gretchen together. You know we loved you. Or playing that game at my house. Terry, do you remember you were there? We had a pretty rough start this year. Girl quit, 2 moved, and tons of injuries. But we still managed to pull through and do a good job. We're just unstoppable. From the seniors, we hope all of you come back next year. You guys are awesome, and we know you'll do it again. I want to thank Coach again. You are a wonderful person, and we're all very thankful for you being our coach. You might make me cry. Coach, friend, leader, biggest fan. There aren't enough words to describe what you've meant to us these years. You've been by our side through thick and thin, whether it's a hug to congratulate or to wipe away the tears. You've brought us strength when we were weak. You've given us courage when we felt weak, always pushing us to do our best, to never give up until we've beaten the rest. Taught us how to be a team and to strive for our goals, no matter how impossible they seem. We've been pushed, yelled at, preached at too. But the more that this happened, the more we grew. We will carry you with us for the rest of our lives, hearing that voice encouraging us to overcome any strife. It's hard to say goodbye, but we want you to know how thankful we are for that from Coach. We didn't want you to forget us, so here's a little piece of heaven for you. Oh yeah, thanks to the girls varsity, you guys are our biggest fans. You are.
Could we have the girls modified A basketball?
I just stepped in my nose.
Jess Van Moving. Aaron Macy. Jen Gay. Amanda Forey. Kim Dragoon. Jen Bayshard. Melanie Barrier. Katie Lynn Tierney. Ashley Goyette. Mary Elizabeth Frankie. Millie Copeland. Morgan Baker. Margarita Lucero. Manager Melinda Deschard. And Manager Alyssa Menard. Frank Dumas was unable to be here tonight, so Mr. Garen's going to take over, and please welcome the girls modified A basketball team.
Good evening. I'm Frank. I've grown, and I don't have a belly. Well, it's a little small. I'd like to congratulate all of the winter sports coaches and athletes for another successful season. Personally, I'm sure I speak for the community. We thank the athletes for representing your school with class. Our girls program had a very good season. We were one game shy of going undefeated at all 3 levels in CBAC league play. There are many schools who wish they could say that. To build a program like ours, it takes many parts to complete the puzzle. And we have them. We're fortunate to have good athletes who start at young ages to learn the game. Very supportive parents who get them to practice, games, tournaments, AAU, put hoops up in the driveway, and even try to play with them once in a while. Our youth commission coaches who get them on the right path with countless donated hours. Junior high coaches who work hard to keep improving skills for the final 2 levels. We're fortunate at the junior varsity level to have Dave Lambert. His dedication and knowledge of the game is an asset to the program. Dave had another fine season and was CBAC co-champion again. At the varsity level, we have the best. Norm Bono, assistant varsity coach, and Andy Landry, varsity coach. Norm has dedicated years to developing young athletes, not only in sports, but also the everyday challenges in life. The athletes respect him, and he shows respect for them. Thanks, Norm. Quote from Frank, by the way, I won't mention how many years I didn't want to embarrass you. Andy Landry, not enough can be said about him. He keeps track of everything, from our 3rd and 4th grade programs to our graduates who have gone on to play college ball. He attends as many games as possible at all levels and always keeps good communication with all coaches working under him. He not only teaches the game, but makes it fun. His love for the game and respect of his athletes is what makes us so successful. How about a big round of applause for Andy being named CBAC Coach of the Year. To the girls, thanks for making me look so good. I'm sure we're well represented and all smiling. Which you should be. You were undefeated and took on every challenge all year. You proved hard work and dedication pays off. I apologize for not being here tonight. At this moment, I'm sitting in the front row watching the Philadelphia 76ers take on the Detroit Pistons. I'm at courtside with my mom and stepdad. She's celebrating her 80th birthday, and this was my gift to her. She's a die-hard 76ers fan and really enjoyed and knows her basketball. She would have enjoyed coaching you as much as I did. You girls were a coach's dream. Keep your good attitudes and you'll get your chances to play in some state games someday, which seems to be becoming a habit. Remember our motto, we don't rebuild, we reload. I have 4 awards to present tonight. My first 2 awards are for most improved players. These 2 girls really picked their game up by the end of the season. Their hard work and practice and good positive attitudes earned them this award. Most Improved Player awards go to Erin Macy and Mary Elizabeth Frankie. My next 2 awards go to my most valuable players. These 2 girls use every minute of gym time to its fullest. They run every drill like it's a game situation, and their constant hustle and desire to improve make a coach's job a joy. Girls, keep those never-ending smiles, and congratulations. Most valuable player awards go to Jen Bayshard and Kim Dragoon. Frank has a few thank yous. First, to my 2 managers. They were a joy to have around. Their favorite quote was, "You don't scare me, you don't scare us, that's all you are, is just a big teddy bear." You may have all the players fooled, but not us. Their big smiles and good humor were the final touches to a good season. Thanks to Melinda Fred Bayshard and Alyssa Menard. Mr. Dumas has a little something for you, but surprise, surprise, I forgot it in my classroom. So please find me tomorrow. To Josie, who does a fantastic job as AD and always has very good communications with me being off-site. Thanks to my very supportive parents. Thanks to the Booster Club for all the hard work and dedication they give to NCCS athletics. And thanks to Calvin for taping and showing our games on Channel 24. Thank you, Coach Dumas.
Good evening. The team and I put together a speech for Mr. Dumas, but unfortunately he's not here. The 2004-2005 Mod basketball season was an overall success. While learning a lot from Mr. Dumas, we had a lot of fun too. From Mr. Dumas singing to making tents and watching movies on the bus, and then at Mary Elizabeth's house before the big Saranac game. All the funny stuff aside, we had a great season. We were undefeated and beat the biggest competition twice, Saranac. Mr. Dumas is a great coach. Almost anyone can learn a ton from him. Many of us improved tremendously because of him. Most times he's serious and the other he's all fun. He's a wonderful coach and we couldn't ask for a better one. Congratulations to my fellow teammates on a great season. And also a thanks to our managers, Alyssa and Linda, for a wonderful help.
Mr. Dumas is a great coach. I think everyone has fun. Being undefeated, you would think that all we did was practice hard, but we had loads of fun during practice, especially with Mr. Dumas' singing. His voice is pretty good, so he says. Yeah, it was funny. Mr. Dumas is an awesome coach, which everyone probably already knows. We all had a great year.
When I first met Mr. Dumas at tryouts, I came home thinking that he was just a big, mean guy that yells a lot. But after being with him all season and getting to know him, I learned that he's just a really big-hearted guy that yells a lot. Mr. Dumas is the type of guy who loves to joke around and have a lot of fun, but is also very serious about basketball and all the other sports he coaches. He worked the team very hard this season, and he is a big part of why the girls are where they are right now. From being with Mr. Dumas, I have learned that he loves to dance. He can really get down, but not always back up. He also loves to sing. Every practice, he would say, "I should have been a rock star. I should have been a rock star." And well, all I can say to that is to stick with what you do best, Mr. Dumas, coaching. Between Bailey's chicken walk, Jenny Kim's cheers, and Mr. Dumas' singing, we had a pretty fun season. We had an awesome season with 13 wins and 0 losses. I like to congratulate the team for an outstanding season and thank Mr. Dumas. I would also like to congratulate Mr. Dumas for making it through the year with the team. Thank you.
The girls' JV basketball team coming up. Jordan Clark, Marianne Moody, Tricia LaValle, Megan Bayshard, L'Oreal Bombardier, Danielle Bulris, Sarah Katie Hardigan, Tessa Pirro, Amanda Rabideau, Courtney Brooks, Johnny Ray Poirier, Chantel LaValle, Megan McComb. Please welcome the girls' JV basketball team and coach members.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Standing over there to my right, in front of the stage, is a group of young ladies who represented the JV girls basketball team this year. How well of a job did they do? Let's find out. At the beginning of the season, I tried to emphasize the word team. No matter what role you played, it was very important. My first job that I had to do was to take 25 girls or so that I've tried out and cut it down to around 11 or 12 girls that are manageable. Well, that first job I failed myself. I ended up keeping 13 girls. Tryouts are always very tough. When I got down to 13, I just couldn't cut anymore. I really thought all 13 girls had the right stuff to become team players. So the first thing these young ladies did was survive tryouts. We had 2 scrimmages in the preseason. One against a very good BFA team from Vermont. The other was against Seton Catholic. Always a very tough team. We played 3 non-league games. Malone, Messina, and Rush and Mariah. All 3 of these teams usually finish at the top of the division in Section 10. We also played 17 regular season games. Some of them were not as tough as others, but we had our good share of very competitive games. Through all these games, we prevailed in every one but one. The only blemish on our record was a 1-point loss in Saranac. We didn't like that feeling of that game, and when Saranac came to play us on our home court, we avenged that loss with an 18-point victory. We finished the season with an overall record of 19-1. We were the co-champions in the CBAC, tied with Saranac. We will be getting some plaques in the near future, girls, that will say co-champions. But I know who the real champions are. It's that group of young ladies staying over to my right in front of that stage. And yes, they had a very good year. Good job, girls. I didn't write a whole list of each individual player. I tried to stick with a theme, or the team theory. And I had a lot of compliments about the team this year. And I'm going to share a few of them with you right now. At Mariah, our first game of the year, the coach told me after the game, she couldn't believe how fast we could turn our defense into our offense. We stole the ball several times and turned it into quick layups. The coach from Los Angeles told me they didn't mind losing to us because we played with a lot of class. Saranac Lake's coach told Coach Dumas and myself that he admired our program so much that they were trying to model their program after ours. The modified coach from Plattsburgh even asked us one night after the game how we ran our practices. These are just some of the compliments that I received this year. A lot of these compliments were directed at my team, but many can be applied to our whole girls program from the varsity down to our 3rd and 4th grade teams. Andy and Norm and all the grade school coaches, and certainly the parents of all these athletes, all play a big part in the success of our teams. I am very proud to be part of this program, and I think all of you can be a part of it too. The best comment I got, I think, was after our game up in Rush and Mariah. I was talking to one of the referees, and he asked me a very strange question, I thought. He said, "How do you know who's starting the game?" He seemed to think that no matter who I put in the game, they all played very well. He didn't single out any one of my players, he singled out my entire team. I was very proud of that. And that's a compliment to all you girls. Nice job. I like to think that all my players improved greatly throughout the year, and they did. But there's always one girl who stands out. Right now, Chantel, would you take a step forward, please? Just stand there and look pretty, okay? Chantel LaValle had a great season for us. At the beginning of the season, she was struggling a little bit. She would get a lot of offensive rebounds, but she couldn't put the ball back in the basket. The harder she tried, the worse it seemed to get. Well, we worked on a few things in practice. Before long, the shots started to fall. A coach could not ask for a harder work in practices or the games. Her attitude is obviously her biggest asset. She is a great team player. For all your hard work, Chantel, you are my most improved player. My most valuable player selection was a much more difficult job. I really couldn't pick out any one player who stood out against all the rest. But when I looked it all over, I did find a trio of girls who more often than not set the tone of the game. Tessa Perro, Johnny Ray Corey, and Courtney Brooks. Take a step forward, please. Please leave on the stage, that's all right. This trio usually started the game, and we immediately put our full court press into effect. They certainly created a lot of havoc for the opposing team right off the bat. They would only play for the first 4 or 5 minutes, but would usually give us a 10-point lead or maybe even more. They took the pressure off the rest of the team as they took their turns in the game. Kessa was our ball handler. She usually brought the ball up the court most of the time. She had very nice passes and led to easy layups for somebody else. She also discovered late in the year that she had a pretty good 3-point shot, and she made several of them toward the end of the year. Courtney and Johnny Ray were the scorers. They often received nice passes from each other, and they knew how to put the ball in the basket. I didn't keep stats on the steals and all that stuff, but I believe that this trio must have led the league without a doubt. All 3 of these girls are very good players and deserving of the title MVP. And I am very proud to have coached them this year. A few thank yous. I'd certainly like to thank my wife Lisa for all she does for me throughout the year. She's a very big supporter of our entire program. I want to thank Josie for all her hard work, for keeping us in line all year long. Norm, Andy, and Frank. I have the utmost respect for all 3 of these people, and I consider myself very fortunate to be able to work with them. To all the youth coaches out there, I thank you for all your hard work and dedication. It is not going unnoticed. To all my girls' parents, thank you for being so supportive. It is very much appreciated. Calvin, thank you for taking our games, showing them on TV. Nick Baychards and Betsy Macy this year helped me out quite a few times. I had trouble finding scorekeepers, and they were more than willing to step up to the plate and help me out. I was very appreciative for that. Paul Valley, he always helped me out with the away games. He was always there to get the score, and Paul, I want to thank you for that too. My final thank you this year is to my team. After work, I'm always coming to practice, and I was always looking forward to it. We had a few bumps in the road along the way, but we worked things out. And that's what good teams do. Some of you will move on next year. Some of you will come back with me. But whatever happens, girls, I wish all of you the best of luck, and thank you for an outstanding season. Thank you.
We had a record of 19 and 1. We beat our rivals there in our second time by 18 points. And Brian and I CBA champions. In Saranac Lake, we had some trouble with some girls, but we won't mention that right now. And at Pekin Town, when Danny locked herself in the locker, couldn't figure out how to get out from the inside. She good. Of course, there was Kessa, Johnny, and James Mitchell for everything. For thanking. We'd like to thank Calvin for keeping our games, and our parents who brought us to every one of our games to support us. And of course, Coach, who pushed us throughout the season. Thanks.
Now we'll do varsity girls. Brittany Jarvis. Kaylee Pascal. Courtney Correa. Casey Lambert. Tiffany Lamberton. Darby Turner. Rachel Corrier. Alex Corey. Jay Rabideau. Manager Nick Shashak. Scorekeeper Carrie Tremblay. And timer manager Betsy Macy. The 9 girls on this team earned the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Scholar Athlete Team Award. To receive this award, they have to have a team average of 90% or better, with additional members having a 90% average. So each and every one of them earned that award, and I'd like to congratulate all of them. Please welcome the girls varsity basketball team and coach, Mr. Lambert.
Tessa back up here.
Good evening. This year's team did some things that are pretty amazing. Me and Mr. Bono have been around the program for 11 years, and the success that the girls have had is tremendous, but it didn't start with myself and Mr. Bono. Mr. Sears started this program 10 years before that, and they're always one of the class programs to lead. So when you start out the season and you try to do something that no other team, no other Northeastern girls varsity team has done over the last 20 years, it's pretty hard to find something. But this year's team went 24-0 before they finally lost the game. As successful as we've been, we've never had a team that has completed the regular season undefeated. This year's team just met all the obstacles. We had 17 league games, but we knew nothing about those. Some of those were competitive, a lot of them were not, not easily. But we tried to get good teams out of league. We played Malone, who was an A team, and they were ranked all year long. We beat them. Played Messina, another A team from Section 10, who does very well. We beat them. And the third game we scheduled was Rushton Mariah. We beat them in double overtime. And if you've been following the papers, Rushton Mariah as a C team went to the state Final Four and ended up getting to the final game before they lost. So we have 17 games we can't do much about, but the other 3 we tried to schedule as tough as we could, and we did. And the girls still managed to beat them all. We ran into our same nemesis we did last year. Last year, we made it all the way to the regionals, and we lost the eventual state champion, South Jefferson, by 3 points. This year, we made it to the regionals. We played the team from Albany first game, and the best team from the entire Albany area we beat by 24 points. Unfortunately, the next day, we ran into that same South Jefferson, and they were undefeated again this year. And we didn't have our best game. They got the best of us, and they again went on to the Final Four. The key to this kind of success, key to the success we've had over the last 20 years, is the help we get along the way. From Dave and JVs, to Frank and the Modified, but way on down, and I'm not going to mention any elementary coaches' names because I know I'd forget some. Some of them are here now, and some have been here in the past years. But it's these people in the elementary grades and the Modified and the JV level that develop these players that make me and Mr. Bono look so smart every year. They make it a lot easier on us when we're handed talent every year. And we just have a tremendous appreciation for the job that's done at the younger level. Just a couple more thank yous. First of all, I'd like to thank my wife, Sue. She made every game this year except one, I think. And she's here tonight sitting through this thing. shows a lot of dedication. She loves the girls, loves to watch them play. Secondly, I'd like to thank some of the JV players who at the end of the year came up and helped us practice. So we'd have numbers every night at practice. And special thanks to Kessa, who came up to the varsity at the end of the year and helped us out. The teams in the past few years have caught on to one of the more important things about a team sport. As me and Mr. Bono get older, I think we spend more time talking about things like goals and memories and things you want to do as a team than we do about basketball. And this team, and last year's team, and the year before that, seem to have really caught on to that. We really, truly have a family here. They go to each other's house before games. They spend nights at each other's house. They have breakfasts together. They just seem to do everything together. They go to the movies together. They've turned into a real family, and I think that helps in the court. Nobody talks after the game about who scored so many points. They all slap each other on the back about who made the nice pass, who made a nice defensive play. They're very, very, very unselfish. And they all pull for each other. And I think that's the thing I'm most proud of, the fact that we have a real family here. And it just shows in the court. Nobody gets upset about playing time. Everybody goes in and does their job. And it's just fun to be a part of. Okay, on that note, we ended up with just 9 players this year. And we could always depend on the bench to come in, whether it's Casey or Jay going in and making a few outside shots for us, or Darby leaving in the center and doing a great job rebounding and putting the ball back in the basket, or Tiffany coming off the bench and giving our guards some good minutes in relief. They did a wonderful job for us. And again, they never complained. If any of those 4 girls were going to school down the road at one of these other schools, they'd be starters. But at Northeastern, they're role players, and they do a great job for us. Alex became a starter this year, and while she didn't get her name in the paper a lot, as a coach, couldn't be more proud of her. She was just all over, scrambling all over. Always had her finger on the ball somewhere, making a deflection, making a double team, making them force a pass so somebody else would get a steal. Rachel this year showed really some great improvement. She showed that she's not just a stand outside, shoot the ball guard. Now she takes it to the hoop, she posts up, she's becoming a real threat. And that's going to carry over to next year. And she got rewarded at the end of the year. She made the second team All-Stars. Kaylee, first year as a starter this year, second year in varsity. Kaylee is not the most gifted athlete. She has to play out of her position. She's only about 5'4", and we always played her under the basket with the big girls. But I have never, ever coached a girl who worked harder or wanted it worse than Kaylee. Really proud of Kaylee. Courtney, a junior, already in her 4th year of varsity. Just keeps improving, keeps working hard. She could settle back and say, well, I'm doing pretty good here, but she doesn't. She works and works. And Mr. Bono pushes her every night in practice. And hopefully, we're going to be watching her play college ball in a few years. Hopefully at a nice school. Brittany. Oh, excuse me, before I forget Courtney. Courtney also made the All-Star team, but not as a first or second team. Second year in a row, Courtney was the MVP of the league. Brittany Jarvis is in her 4th year of varsity basketball, and she was our real team leader this year. For 3 years, me and Mr. Bono have been trying to get her to shoot the basketball. Very unselfish. She'd miss a shot, she didn't want to shoot again. She'd just pass it and pass it. She finally got to taking charge this year. In the second half of the year, especially the last 8 or 9 games, she averaged about 20 points a game. If we hadn't got snowed out on the wasn't rescheduled, she probably would have hit 1,000 points. She ended up, according to the paper, she ended up with 980 points. According to my record, she had 985, just shy of her 1,000 points. She really took charge at the end of the year. The two games I'm going to remember Whitney most about, and remember in the last 2 years we've only lost 3 games. But the 2 games I'm going to remember her most for are 2 of the ones we lost. Last year against South Jefferson, and they were a good team. Nobody dared to bring the ball up the court except Brittany. Everybody give it to Brittany and get out of the way, let her do the work. She had the nerve and she had the confidence to bring it up against them. Well, this year, Rachel was a little more confident. Rachel brought it up most of the time against them. But Jar was the one who kept taking it to the hoop. Even though she was double-teamed all night long, she scored 14 points against South Jefferson. She kept us in the game. She showed tremendous toughness and leadership. And she just didn't want the season to end. And she did everything in her power to keep the season going. Tremendous job. She was an all-star again this year, 2nd year in a row. This year she was the first team all-star. Just a couple other things that Josie mentioned earlier. We did win the Team Scholar Award, which is always an honor. This year's most improved player. Hardest worker, Kelly Sassano. This year's most valuable player, first choice, Courtney Corrier. Next year, most valuable player, Brittany Jar.
This is the way it is in practice. After we have our warm-ups, stop for a minute, we sit down and we talk. He talks first. He says everything and he says, Mr. Bono, would you like to say anything? Do you have anything to say? He said it all already. He says it very well. These nights are great. It's great for the athletes. It's great for the parents. It's great for the coaches. At the same time, for the coaches like Andy and myself, it's also pretty sad. In a way, for your seniors. I think this would be, a lot should be said about the seniors. The others will get their turn. Next year will be another group. Still haven't really gotten over a couple we lost last year. But it's going to be very difficult to replace the 2 girls we have this year. And he said we're a very close group. We are a family. And within the groups, within the family, there's also girls who are best of friends besides sports and everything else. The 2 seniors, you usually see them together. And they're about like day and night. I just have to look at Kaylee and she'll start crying. Jar, she's stone-faced, you can't really read her. Like Andy said, Kaylee's not the most gifted athlete. She's all heart. She'll give you everything she's got. And in my 38 years of coaching, been around sports, I don't think I've ever seen a more natural athlete than Brittany. It's been a pleasure just to sit there. I've got a seat right close to the court to see her play. I'm really going to miss that. But it's just a wonderful, wonderful group of kids. You don't have to say too much about their stats. They're in the papers. They've been in the top 5 all year. But if you knew what a good group of girls this, that's what they should be commended for, even more than their record. Thank you, girls. I really enjoyed working with you this year. Super.
guys were awesome. Anytime we needed anything, gum, you're always there. Sue for all the cooking, the brownies, the cookies, the muffins, etc. They go on and on. I'll never forget those. To Calvin, thank you for taking out of our games. And Mr. Landry and Mr. Bono. Where do I start? You guys are the best coaches anywhere in this league, for any sport. You know how to treat us and what needs to be done. And we can be on a closer level with you than just basketball players. We go over your houses and we watch movies of us playing teams so you can criticize us. And to the girls, I know me and John are really going to miss you guys this year. We're just going to leave it at that.
Mr. Bono has a big poster of Duke in his house, in his classroom, so we decided to get Mr. Andrew and Mr. Bono a picture.
For 30 or so more years, maybe you could tie Pat Summit's 880 record. That concludes our second session. Thank you all.
Off the glass, that's Tayo scoring. 40-21, minute 10 showing here in the second quarter. Poirier to Turner, shot is deflected and pulled down by Sullivan. Brock will bring it into the forecourt, pushes it down for Tayo. White ball. Foul. Using 3 refs this game. Let's see, next game they're going to use Doody and Dyer and 5 refs next game. Tom Crow will be there just to keep track of things. Mazzano back in, replacing McCory. 23.6 on the clock. Sullivan hits them both. 40-23. 6 seconds. Brittany Jarvis. Good to 3. 43-23. Northeastern up by 20 at the half here on Hometown Cable. Well, let's do this with sound. Jarvis will inbound it and the second half is underway. Overall almost semifinal, but with the weather forecast we've got coming, there probably won't be a final. Rachel Corrier with another 3. How many 3s does she have anyway, do you know? 4? 4 for 6. Sitting next to a professional scout here. This guy paid about $1,000 to be here. Sidekick alone gets $300. So scouting for Jefferson. Rebounded by Jarvis to Forey. Jarvis puts it up, hits the back of the iron. 46-23, Cougars doubling the score here on the Peru Indians. It's been a while since Peru had a meaningful game. Imagine they've scrimmaged, although there aren't too many teams that could be scrimmaging against. Maybe they scrimmaged against Section 10, I don't know. But everybody else has been playing, and the ones who aren't playing are done for the year, so they can't scrimmage anybody. So Peru needs this game more than Northeastern does to sharpen up their skills here as they get ready for the regionals. Courtney Corrier up to Brittany Jarvis. Courtney puts it to the floor, dishes off to Passano, and she scores. Long 2-pointer for Kaylee Passano, and it's a 25-point Cougar lead. 2 minutes into the second half. Rock into the forecourt. Slides it over to Bazzano. Bazzano puts it to the floor. Trips. Passano comes up with it. Stops. Puts it up a little short. Courtney Corrier said, I've got a tough angle here. How about you putting it in, Brittany? Well, she gave it over to Brittany Jarvis, and Jarvis got an easy 2 out of it. Would have been a tough shot for Corrier. So good alert pass. She don't have much time to make that decision. Sullivan will see after foul tying your sneaker trick. $7:30. Rock brings it up. Cougars up by 28. Bazzano to Sullivan from the elbow, rolls the rim, and Corrier gets another rebound. Lamberton back to Courtney Corrier, gets a cutting Brittany Jarvis. Beautiful heads up play. Corrier intimidating Sullivan. Lambert comes up with it. This is over. Lamberton. Jarvis returns the favor to Corrier. Ryan O'Connell says, what am I going to do here? What am I going to do? Caitlin Kilkeary is in. Number 52 in your program. And she scores. May have traveled there. It looked like she was getting an extra half a step in there, but she scores. Nice shot to put in, coming off the bench. And Courtney Corrier drops it in. Rock brings it up. 3:50 to go. in the third. Kilcarry, nope, not this time. Another rebound for Courtney Courier. Jarvis to Passano, and she's spun around. Non-shooting foul, Sarah Rock with the foul. Passano's all ready to shoot. Jarvis dishes it off. Courtney Courier did her part. Lamberton a little too hard on the layup. Stolen by Courtney Courier. Lobs it up to Jarvis. Count the basket. 59-25, 3 minutes to go in the third period. Sullivan tied up, stolen away by Passano, but Indians get it back. Kilcarry blocked by Courtney Courier. Beautiful pass up to Lamberton. McCory brings it up. Zana McCory. The three off the rim. Rebounded by Rabidou. No, excuse me, that's not Rabidou, that's Perro. Chessa Perro. Corey off the rim. Corey brings it up. Under 2 to go in the third.